let me begin by congratulating all of you. It's wonderful to see you, people who have been part of the quality journey of Apollo, people who have supported, mentored, and others like Dr. Atul Kochar and many, many others who are committed to the credo of quality in India. Some of you, may have noticed that while the previous speaker was speaking, there was a series of inappropriate interventions happening. And normally we would gloss this over. But I think one of the big things that we learned in the quality journey is that we should always have the courage to call it out. So I'm calling this out and telling all of you that I think that we as a nation who are committed, for whatever reason, Zoom has been having significant problems. And I think we need to find other platforms if this is what happens on a credible paid platform where a qualitative discussion is happening. And we should not keep quiet. So like when we saw that things need to get better in healthcare, need to be standardized in healthcare, we stepped up and said, let's embark on the quality journey. Whether this meant doing the first JCI, which happened so many years ago and has really been such a landmark and such a wonderful journey for us, or it meant working with Indian accreditation bodies. I was part of the team that went to Thailand and we studied their systems. And then we shared all of this, and the first, from Quality Council of India, the first NABH was set up. And I think there's such good memories. So every time a hospital gets NABH or NABL accredited, whether it's an Apollo or not, for me, it's a moment of silent celebration, saying the Indian standard of care is going up. And I want to thank Paula, because seeing, JCI here and seeing all of you here is once again kind of a memory. An anniversary or a celebration is about memories of the past. It's about this present, and at this present moment, I'm totally enjoying working with all of you, and it's about commitments of the future. And looking at memories of the past, I think one of the most significant things has been that we moved from physical infrastructure tracking to process tracking to finally outcome tracking. And this journey happened for us in just, under a decade. And I remember, almost 7-8 years ago when the first time they started patient tracers. So they're going to trace a whole file. Imagine the tension that's going to be. And finally, it became such an important part of the journey. But I'm calling that one out because it lends me to, I think, the most important aspect of the quality journey. And that is that the entire aspect of, is this quality journey working or not, is as strong or as weak as that last individual, one individual. Is it one housekeeping person who didn't swab correctly? Is it one supervisor where the dilution was wrong? Is it one nurse where they loaded the ampule with the wrong dosage? And so every single link in the chain, you know this, you all live it every day. And yet it's a point that has to continuously be reiterated. And in that pursuit, I want to call out or flag out two very important things for the future. And those two are, number one, that the aggressive adoption of information technology and all aspects of technology, whether it means connected rooms where we will get BP and all the vitals monitored and SpO2 automatically entering into the computer so the nurse does not have to do routine work, the ability to automate, then the ability to use artificial intelligence to create algorithms for early warning systems. What happened by intuition and supervision will be enabled greatly by technology, early warning systems, and all kinds of alerts. So the ability to adopt that significantly is one of the big things I really wanted to call out again. And finally, all of you are IT gurus in your own way. All of you are technology gurus, but all of you are mostly great practitioners of the quality journey and quality gurus. I want to add one dimension to the quality journey, which has also been called out before, but at no time has it been as acute as during COVID. and that is public participation. Because when COVID struck us, what happened was not just a significantly impacting lives, but completely destroying livelihoods. What happened was not changing the way we work, but changing the entire work paradigm to work from home, remote care, teleconsults, a complete transformation. And what happened is also that it opened up our minds to the capabilities, the possibilities, and the necessities. And in that, one of the big necessity was communication to public and society about the important role that they played in prevention. Because unless public participated in the lockdown, prevented the early transmission, flattened the curve, our hospitals would have been overwhelmed. As in every quality journey, as in every healthcare journey, the role of public and society, especially in an environment of non-communicable disease and the current aspects of pandemics becoming endemic sometimes, these two are where we need to call upon society and have a deeper and smarter participation of public. And finally, the last point I want to add really is the aspect of, because of this changing world, it is not really the smartest who survive, but the most adaptable. Those who learn to figure out what are the care protocols. The fact that there are 23 or 24 versions of the Red Book, because every day we learned what started off as what was potentially a pulmonary disorder, then became a systemic disorder, was a blood clot, was about cardiac, had neurological implications. And actually it was best not to keep putting people on ventilator and try to manage them on different methodologies. All these evolved. Education became one of the biggest quality journeys. And I want to share with you that in this period of time, not only did we bring in 18 million people, the public, on the COVID risk score, and then triage them into the appropriate care at the appropriate time, manage telemedicine in stay-eye as well as in stay-at-home, but did a training. And on the basic COVID training program, over 6 lakh individuals took that from all over the world. And finally, we also created a ventilatory training program, which had content, simulation, and in association with the Critical Care Society of India, a buddy system so that there was a one-on-one mentoring for first-time ventilatory use. I think using knowledge, technology, capability systems to apply in healthcare. No time has the world ever done it so well, so fast together as now. Let's all, as healthcare professionals and as people who have dedicated our lives to healthcare, keep up this awareness level about the power and the need of healthcare and the need for collaborative work. I want to end by just thanking all of you for your tremendous commitment to the field of healthcare, to Paula, Dr. Kocher, Anupam, Hadi, all our doctors, nurses, paramedics, quality professionals, every single one of you. Looking to the future, only one thing remains constant, and that is our commitment to patients, to wellness, to keeping people happy, and to all of us staying together as a team, practicing a high standard of care in an environment of respect and mutual understanding, so that the outcome of our work is not just the direct produce of what we get, but a deeper sense of satisfaction of what we are creating. So congratulations to all of you. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy, stay together, and stay committed to this wonderful journey of quality. Namaste and Jai Hind.